If I'm the only one going through it right now, but I don't know if it's just like a millennial midlife crisis or something, but there's this feeling that's starting to intensify more and more in my life right now where I feel like things that used to work before isn't working anymore. Things that I used to once enjoy and believe in, I don't enjoy and believe.
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel. City boy! City boy! All right, this TikTok video is going kind of crazy right now. This is KTVILL. If you want to check them out on TikTok, go run it. Um, and it seems to be he's talking about a midlife crisis. Now, I think he's Generation X or a millennial, which I'm Generation X, I believe. Now, I was born in 1980, and I think that's only 6 years from being a millennial. So some of the millennials it's so weird to, I don't know, this whole Gen X, millennial, Gen Z, boomers, like it's crazy, but I get it. Generations, right? But I do feel like I have a lot in common with the millennials, um, especially in comparison to Gen Z. I almost have nothing in common with Gen Z, but with millennials, I do. And I have less in common with boomers as well. But Gen X and the millennials, we got like a little homie hookup thing going on. So let's see what Brother Man has to say. Again, always go try to support these people if you on TikTok. Like, I was trying to give him a shout out at the beginning of the video. Again, it's KTVILL is the TikTok. Kevo looks like his real name. And I ain't gonna lie, like what he said at the beginning kind of hits different because I'm kind of feeling him already from the jump. Anyways, if you rock with me on Black Pegasus, like, share, comment, subscribe. Link in the description of my other channels. My dog. Hey, chill. I'm gonna take you out after this video. All right. All right. Here we go.
I don't know if I'm the only one going through it right now, but I don't know if it's just like a millennial midlife crisis or something, but there's this feeling that's starting to intensify more and more in my life right now where I feel like things that used to work before isn't working anymore. Things that I used to once enjoy and believe in, I don't enjoy and believe in anymore. Things that I used to swear by starting to break apart. And I know this is just the universe telling me to pivot. This is just the universe telling me that, hey, this is your moment for change. This is the universe telling me that things are just not working anymore and you're not supposed to pick up the broken pieces that I'm breaking for you. And also during this process, my desires for other things has just also intensified. My desire to leave the city and move to a new city, live a new life, my desire to make new friends, my desire to learn a new hobby, switch careers, everything is intensified like tenfold. Crazy thing is I felt this before, but it's not as intense. It would just be like, maybe I'm not enjoying work as I used to anymore, or I'm not enjoying the city as I used to anymore. I really don't believe in it anymore. But now it's like it's not even a feeling of discomfort. It's more like things are literally falling apart. I'm not sure if I'm just being hyper fixated on all the changes, but I feel like, work is falling apart. I feel like my dating life is falling apart. My friendships and acquaintances is kind of like not really gluing anymore. The place that I grew up in, which I absolutely think is gorgeous and beautiful, is just feeling so gray and drab and unexciting, and I just don't want to explore and be with it anymore. And it's not because it's this.
It's interesting what he's saying. I actually relate to a lot of it, and then there's stuff that I'm totally disconnected from. Right, like I'm not in the dating game. I'm married. I'm raising two children. I'm happily married. So like those are things I can't relate to. But the change started for me in 2020, and a lot of things happened all at once. And I did kind of go through a midlife crisis. 2020, the day of the shutdown, I believe, was March 13th or March 14th or March 15th, right around that time. And they shut everything down. I turned 40 years old on March 24th. We were supposed to go on this special Hawaiian cruise to all the Hawaii Islands on my 40th birthday. All this stuff got canceled. Also, on the day of March 3rd, the day of the shutdown, we were at Denver's Children's Hospital, and my daughter got diagnosed with arthritis, children's arthritis. Also, with the shutdown, my main source of income, I threw concerts for a living. My secondary source of income was I toured as a rapping artist and a tour manager for other artists. So I literally, in that moment, I felt like crying. I felt scared. I felt vulnerable. I didn't know what was going to happen. Now I'm going to fast forward a little bit. I kept things together. I kept throwing events. I figured out ways to do events safely during the pandemic. I just had to pivot with my business. But in 2020, I was a blue belt in jujitsu and I just got my purple belt and I got injured. I actually ripped part of my pec. I got a little dimple here in this pec and then I ripped this pec, but not as bad in jujitsu. So not only was my life falling apart in many different areas, my body started to fall apart. As I got deeper into my 40s, my energy level, certain things that I was doing, was it like, the same workouts I was doing, 3, 4 years ago, I'm not getting results now. Things started to change. My hairline changed. It's so interesting what he's saying. I don't live in the city, but now I just want to get away from the city and be a little more rural because there's way more homeless and there's way more violent crime. There's just all of these things have skyrocketed since 2020. And I don't know the magnitude 2020 specifically had on that or if this was just going to happen no matter what. But there's so many changes going on in my life. With me, my changes also with raising children. I don't even listen to rap music anymore because I don't want my kids to hear the N word, the F word, the this, the that, the other, And then I started a YouTube channel. It takes off for reacting to music I wasn't, exposed to as a kid. Classic rock, country, folk. So there's been a lot of changes and I kind of leaned into it and everything is finally, finally trying to level out. I'm like, oh, okay. So I guess I'm a YouTube content creator. I still throw concerts. I pretty much stopped touring as a rap artist, but I can still do shows from time to time. I'm figuring it out as I go. And that's what I think he's doing. I think he's just having a reflective moment talking about all these changes that happen when you get closer to the middle of your life. Now, him being a millennial, I believe he could be what, 35 or 40 ish, which makes total sense because you start reflecting and thinking of all these things. Um, I was blessed enough to run the streets and act a fool and do whatever the F I wanted when when I was in my 20s, you know. So I got a lot of crazy out of my system and it's okay for me to just do normal stuff now. Cause I mean, I literally lived a lifestyle like similar to what you would imagine rock stars live. I didn't do drugs and stuff, but going to parties, meeting girls, the groupies, the traveling, the waking up in new places every day, the excitement, the spontaneity. Like I got to do all that. So now at this point in my life, just buckling down, working, trying to create some wealth for my family, whether it be prosperity in the health department and actual financial wealth. That's my goal. Try to be the best man, dad that I can, even though we are imperfect as humans. Anyways, let's hear this brother out. I really feel him on this. Again, I just wanted to differentiate the things I absolutely um I've absolutely going through that are very similar to what he's gone through, and then things that I'm a little disconnected from because we're living two different lives, obviously.
City itself rains a lot, but it's just everything in my life is starting to intensify in a way that it's making me so uncomfortable that there is no choice for me to just wake up every day and think about changing. Like I can't even be comfortable within the familiar anymore. It's just everything is falling apart. Not in a bad way, but it's just everything. This reminds me of one of the videos that I made where I feel like maybe everything has expired. Like there's an expiry date to everything, and everything in my life right now has just currently expired, and I keep dealing with expired things. And I realize that I wake up and I'm tired and I'm unmotivated and I don't know what to do. And I know I'm a hard worker. I know whatever I put my mind in, I've proven that time and time and again. But I feel like the life that I built for myself and I loved, don't get me wrong, that I loved and I nurtured isn't the life that I think I'm gonna be having moving forward. And it's so painful to think that I will have to leave a lot of things behind for me to be able to move forward. I don't know when that's going to be. I'm just having, again, this is just kind of like an insight that I'm having right now because it's a continuous thing. It's like this is something I experience every day, and I feel like a lot of people are experiencing it as well. Like I'm seeing a lot of people who are doctors, who are lawyers, they've gone through big things in their life and are in this process of like they don't want to be those anymore. It's like people are afraid also at the same time that they're just going to abandon the things that they once built. I'm afraid for that, but at the same time, where do I listen to? Who do I listen to? My gut feeling or society all over again? And also another reason why I realize
You listen to your instincts. Everyone feels this way. I have an answer for him at the end. He's going through what's called the lonely chapter, and I'll tap in about that. Let him finish though.
that there is this huge need for change for me at the moment is because I am trying my hardest to find numbing agents. Like I feel like I'm trying my hardest not to go for the numbing agents that I'm usually using. With me, that's like food and endless narratives like TikTok and YouTube and all that. I don't have any propensity towards alcohol and drugs, which I am absolutely thankful for. But I have other things to numb me. And I realize that it's just increasing more and more my need for them because, if I don't, it's like life is uncomfortable. Maybe it's just a midlife crisis, guys. I don't know. But I just kind of want to share that, kind of moment with y'all because it's scary, it's confusing, and I feel like the only way I can relieve this kind of tension right now is to talk about it. I just gotta trust the universe in this one because I feel like the life that I built isn't isn't what it was anymore, and that's a really hard pill to swallow. Anyways, love you all.
So I like his energy. It hasn't been like some of the other millennials and stuff that we've seen on TikTok, where it's a lot more dystopian. He's very neutral, very level headed, and I think he's actually on his path to get to where he needs to be. But there's this thing called the lonely chapter. And what happens is in this chapter of your life, you're at a point where you're in this middle phase, right? Where you built all these things, but you're outgrowing it. So you're in this middle phase because the next phase to come, you're not you don't have the growth to be there, right? So like the friend group you built over here, you've outgrown that friend group. And the new friend group you're about to build, you're just not at that level yet. And it's the lonely chapter where you're like in this almost like purgatory working to get to the next chapter. That's really all it is. Life is just changing. And when I say friend groups, again, this is friend groups, uh, business, hobbies, everything. Everything starts to change within your life and it's very natural. And to find those numbing agents, I am with him. Like sometimes my numbing agent is food, right? Like when I get burnt out from like da 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 da, or like I just feel like I have this loving family around me all the time and I'll still just be in my recliner just feeling lonely and this weird despair. The numbing agent, I'll just like, oh, I just want to eat something good. The other thing is what I had to start doing is trying to put a little more focus on things that I'm a little more passionate about. So when I do find myself in these areas, taking some time to write some music instead of scrolling on social media or even recording a video, I'm taking some time to write music or go on a hike or actually travel. Traveling has been good for me because I really enjoy it. Also, I'm able to fit it into my work because vlogging is a part of content creation, which fits in my business diagram now. So there's different things I would try to create a hobby or do something you're passionate about and maybe turn it into some type of small income stream if you need it or if you don't just do that. Also me, like he kept saying the universe. And I think putting a blanket statement out there, the universe is so big and vast, and I don't think people always believe that. Coming to grips with the higher power, believing in God, believing in something more than just the universe has been super helpful to me. Again, I was raised with religion and stuff like that, so I feel a little more closer to that. And so those are things that I think would help at some capacity. But I like this brother because I feel like he was just venting and he's going through the process. Like he's analyzing it as he's going through it. I didn't feel like he was stagnant. I didn't really feel like he was complaining. He was just getting something off of his chest. And I appreciate dialogue like that. So, anyways, you guys let me know if you're going through something out in your world. I love to hear about it. And let me know what you think of this video. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.
City boy, city boy.